it is like certificate of English editing. And then you have to give your signature stamp to prove its authenticity. So it is basically that whatever text has been submitted, the research paper has been submitted, so the issues related to, say, grammar, the spelling, then the punctuation, the structure, because when we talk about English as a language, we need to master the structure also. And again, then it will depend on what type of audience you are targeting, and we'll come to that as well. Then the paraphrasing, the phrasing of the text, all these things. So the authors, they have to resolve the suggested linguistic errors before submitting it. So you need to do proofreading. So you have to basically understand how academic writing is a process. Okay. What are the different features? Like I told you, it's formal. It's formal. It is complex. It is precise. Instead of like generally, again, as per the different disciplines, I'm telling you, in arts, it is acceptable that you are going to write down the details. Okay, you are going to elaborate those. But in case of science disciplines, you need to be very, very precise. Okay, then objectivity. You can't let subjectivity creep in your writing. The moment a subjective sentence is being added, it will change the structure of that particular writing. Okay, so it will become more informal. Then explicitness. Explicitly, you have to give your views. It should be accurate. You need to take the onus on you. The responsibility is yours, because you are the one who are going to write. It should be properly organized, and it must be properly planned. These are the features of academic English. Now, scholarly or academic writing, it should be of high quality. That is what is expected. And it doesn't mean that high quality is like you are going to go for, say, ornamental language, or you will go for like more sophisticated language. This high quality, it can be maintained even by use of or incorporating simple words. Okay. Huff has pointed out, it's like 1999 research, but it states that the primary goal of a scholarly writing is to contribute to the canon of scholarly work in a subject. So as audience, as a prospective author, you must know what type of your audience are. Okay, what you are targeting, in which particular journal you wish to publish your paper. Here it is basically about the papers, but I'm talking about academic writing in almost all the intra correspondence which will take place, inter and intra. So it is basically like writing the SAR for NBA. That is SAR, you all are aware of it. Then correspondence while sending proposals, writing proposals. Writing manuals. Generally the teachers, they don't do it, but we do write proposals. Okay, and it should be such that the person whosoever is going to evaluate, who is going to assess your proposal, he or she must be impressed. Like everything should be given properly, everything should be written properly. Okay, that is why I'm telling you that it should be properly organized. So there are basically 5 stages of writing as a process. It is there in my another slide. We'll get back, we'll go to that. So the author must know the different types of audience. Like we have high-tech audience, we have low-tech audience, we have lay audience, we have cultural, multicultural audience. So these are the 4 different types of audience. If you're working in a multinational company, if you're working in an organization wherein your clientele, they are like spread overseas, or maybe if you are in an educational institute, nowadays most of the times, like at PCE also, previously when it was PIT, we had N number, and when I was also a part of PIT, we had number of projects which were acquired from the European Union. And getting projects, it's not an easy task. It's a Herculean task. And it's basically based on the type of formal writing which is going to fetch you the reward in form of those projects. So you need to think about it, how you are going to project the details, how you are going to categorize it, and how the person whosoever is reading your correspondence will be able to understand your point of view. Okay, so you need to think about the audience, whether the audience is high tech, whether the audience is low tech. High tech, it's like if you're writing a research paper, say for an interdisciplinary journal, interdisciplinary I'm talking. So the audience, they can be low tech audience. The audience can be late audience. That's because they are not familiar with the technical jargons. They are not familiar with whatever discipline you belong to. Okay, they won't be able to understand. So you need to give it in a very simple language. So understanding the audience and then planning your writing. Okay, so the target, targeted audience, they should be thought of. And if it is like the journal is specific to your discipline, those audience will be high-tech audience. The reviewers will be high-tech audience. Okay, and therefore you cannot take risk while writing the paper or while writing the proposals, because you know that the person whosoever is reading your proposal, whosoever is reading your correspondence, the formal type of writing is highly educated, knows about your particular discipline, is aware of the technical jargons, is aware of whatever innovations are taking place in your field. Okay, so you cannot take risk by assuming that maybe the person to whom so you are corresponding, if in a say semi-formal language, will appreciate work and will agree, or will reciprocate. So reciprocation won't be there because you had not considered your audience. So you need to study the different types of audience. And nowadays, most of the time, like even fetching these things, the projects from overseas, just an example of USA, UK, from wherever you are going to get projects, if you are sending a proposal, you need to understand the culture of those particular people. That's because use of language, it also, or the language itself, it differs from culture to culture. Like in India, you can say that cow, it is a very pious word. But when you say you are cowed down in America, it is you are a loser. Then we have these colors, red, green, and different type of colors, which have specific meanings in different cultures. So you need to give a thought to that also, because dealing with multicultural audience, you need to understand the culture of the other people as well. That's because if you are not going to consider it, it will result in a cultural barrier. Okay, there are many barriers in communication. So audience, if you're not going to consider the audience, it will result as a barrier. Second, if you don't consider the culture, then language, even language, it is like different terminologies they are used. The language in India itself, after every 10 to 20 kilometers, the dialect, it changes. The way you are going to pronounce certain words, it changes. The meaning, it changes. Okay, so you need to think about it. Then academic research paper should consist of the following characteristics. You need to plan. Early planning is must. Early planning is needed. Okay, now in early planning, you also need to make a checklist, how you are going to proceed. Okay, how you are going to write this particular piece of correspondence, academic writing, related to academics, related to formal correspondence. So it will be analytical, it will be organized. outline the paper, outline the correspondence. Then whatever thought process are going, you need to brood, you need to recall. Okay, so recall things, recall anecdotes, recall a certain experiences associated with that. Or maybe you can also brood about the things which have taken place or which you came across while reading certain articles or journals in the past. While watching TV, it can be like knowledge can be acquired from lot many things. Okay, so it's not only like related to this bookish knowledge, or maybe whatever things are available on the internet, just downloading that. We have this experiential learning as well. So whatever you learn, you can incorporate those things as well. So during planning itself, you need to decide. For example, if you are writing, say, a paper on an environmental issue, okay, and nowadays we see that even children, they have become very aware, okay, of how the current people who belong to this economic group, that is earning members of the society, how they are jeopardizing the future of the kids by exploiting the natural resources. So we have this Greta Thunberg, the one girl child who staged demonstration, okay, who went on a strike in front of an international body, so that what are you doing for us? You are exploiting the nature to its fullest. Okay, you are the ones who are keeping nothing for the posterity. What will be there for us? So we have these movements which are going on the world over. So you need to think about it, the different points which I can incorporate while planning a paper on, say, environmental issues. Okay, so it is recalling, it is brooding, whatever experience you had, whatever things are going on. So you need to keep your mind open. That's because if you are not receptive to new ideas, if you are not welcoming new knowledge, okay, you won't be able to gain wisdom, as well as you won't be able to write effective correspondence or good papers. Then the tone, it should be formal, as we are talking about formality in writing. The tone, it to be formal. Don't use slang words. Generally, we don't do it. We need to be very, very polite. Jargons and abbreviations, see, do not use it as given, but if it is a high-tech audience with whom you are corresponding, you can always go with the technical jargons and abbreviations because they are aware of it. For example, if I'm corresponding with people who belong to the nuclear or who are into nuclear energy and all, like they are a part of nuclear reactors, PHWR, FBRs, like whatever technical terms or acronyms will be used, maybe they'll be able to understand those. Okay, pressurized heavy water reactors, CAPS, Kakrapara Atomic Power Station. So abbreviations, they can be used for high-tech audience. Then we have this technical jargons. Jargons are specific words, the language which are specific to a particular discipline. Like, for example, I am a literature student, so I understand what is a ballad, what is an epic, what is medical humanities, what is an epic theater. So these are the terms which are easy for me to understand. But if I am going to write a paper on epic theater, which is going to be like limited to high-tech audience, it is okay if I use the jargons or the abbreviations. But if I wish to target lay audience, if I want that most of the people, they should be able to access whatever I have written and it should be interesting for them. So I need to take care that if I'm using abbreviations or jargons, they should be explained properly. Okay, then the language needs to be clear and it should be precise. Thesaurus is always of good help. I keep on telling my students, make educational use of mobile phones. now we have this news that mobile phones are banned in schools. So what you can suggest your students is to go through the thesaurus. They can always bring a pocket dictionary, or even like we are not like walking kaleidoscope. We are not a thesaurus, right? So whatever new words we also come across as teachers, because we say that a teacher should be a learner, a lifelong learner. Even we have this PO 12, POs, COPO mapping, all of you have done. So again, you need to use this academic language, this academic English to justify the COPO mapping. Okay. So course outcomes and program outcomes. So in program outcome 12, it is given that it should be a process of lifelong learning. So we, as well as the students, as well as almost everyone over there, like on earth, we need to be lifelong learners. We need to learn something new every day. So it's always better, if you come across a difficult word, try to know the synonyms, the antonyms, the thesaurus, okay, the similar words. Make sentences. It's not only for the students as well, but it is for us also. Okay, so you need to enhance your language skills. You need to improve your vocabulary, because enhancing vocabulary always leads to precision in expression. So vocabulary acquisition should always be there, because then it will help you in putting forth your viewpoints in an easy way. You won't fall short of words in verbal communication as well as in written type of a communication. Okay, so I won't go into vocabulary acquisition. We have n number of games related to vocabulary acquisition. I'll just share one of them with you. Like during the practical sessions which we have this dumb charades. So at VNIT, we have students who speak English, Telugu, Marathi, and Hindi. So basically, when dumb charades is being like played by the students, I tell them to come up with the movie's name, or maybe words, difficult words, okay, and then they have to come and act as well. They have to give the meaning also, like learning new words. So there is one movie in Telugu language. I'm not able to recall that, but it was like the protagonist in the movie is able to use his both the hands. So it is right and left, like we had virus in that Three Idiots, writing with both the hands. So we call that person ambidextrous. Okay, so it is learning through fun. So that can also be done. So it's not only like referring to the thesaurus, it can be learning by activity. Like a few days before, we had this visit of NBA committee for 3 or 4 branches. This year we had 3 visits by NBA. And the chairman, he suggested us that there should be this, a formula he gave, wherein he told that it was something space, I think so, that you need to have activity in your class. You must need humor. So it was SHAPE, something like that. Practical. It should be, whatever you are teaching should be supported by examples. Give them experiential learning. Give them to think about different things. Okay, to give their opinions on different things. So experiential learning, humor. A teacher, it need not be like you are every time going to arouse laughter. Okay, it should be like in sync or relevant to the topic which you are teaching. Okay, so whenever we are writing, I'll get back to our academic writing. When we are talking about academic writing, we should have a proper language. Okay, and to have a good language, to have like good accumulation of words in your mind, keep your mind open. If it is locked, you won't be receptive to new ideas. Most of the time, due to ego, it is like, oh, I am a teacher, I am an associate professor, I'm an assistant professor, I'm a professor, I'm so, I'm that, this. Okay, so we generally try to avoid people. Why should I listen? Okay, so what I tell my students is, like, even like you are first year student or second year students, you know about a particular subject, but listen to the teachers as well. That's because if you have this ego, it acts as a listening barrier. That's because you don't pay attention. You are present over there, physically, but mentally you are roaming elsewhere. So it is better that keep that particular ego aside. That's because you can learn from almost the different types, all the people. You can learn from environment. There's always something which you can take, which you can like put in your mind, which can be useful for you in the long run. And in that way also you can acquire language, you can acquire knowledge. Okay, so the point of view in the third person, academic writing is to educate on facts, not support or an opinion. But again, I told you there's a variation. Third person in some disciplines, first person in few disciplines. Then deductive reasoning is a big part of academic writing. That's because it should lead towards conclusion. So you have to deduct. During the addition part, you will be thinking about what is important and what is unimportant. Okay, what is not to be considered. So you must have this particular approach. Diction is the choice of words in writing. As I told you, for formal writing, you must use sophisticated words, not ornamental one. Simple words. Okay, and it should have an individual style, because academic writing, it speaks volumes about you as a person. So your style is going to determine your personality trait. Okay, it is going to like, people, they'll get to know on the basis of your writing, like what type of a personality this person he has. Organized, unorganized, very casual, or maybe with leadership skills, or it is just for the sake of writing, that somebody has told you, the principal has told you to send a proposal, I'm not at all interested, and I'm just writing it in an haphazard way. So that style of writing, through that style of writing, through the diction, the person who is reading your correspondence, your academic writing, will be able to make out your state of mind. So most of the time, like, even we come across students whose paper, it is very neat and clean, all the keywords, they are underlined properly, justification is given, everything is there. Okay, so that particular student will score marks, as compared to the one who has given a quality content but have written in a very shabby manner. Okay, so it reflects the style. Then we have the scholarly diction, because the scholars to which particular field they belong. Okay, so I've given examples of there. You need to have a specialized vocabulary, be precise, use compensation instead of salary, be simple, clear. Don't use words that sounds good if its meaning isn't absolutely clear to you and to your reader. See, the basic thing in academic writing is try to put yourself in the shoes of the person whosoever is going to read your correspondence. Okay, think about him. It's not about like, when we talk about sympathy and empathy, these are the psychological terms. So here it is empathizing with the reader. That's because whosoever will read your writing, that person should be able to understand. So think that after writing, read it and take the role of the reader, and then think whether it is logical, whether it is properly organized, and whether it should be shared or not. Use dictionary. Don't go for elevated language, thus, heretofore, undoubtedly. Avoid colloquialisms. Colloquialisms are generally language which is specific to a particular region. That's because that language is not understood by people who don't belong to your particular area. Okay, these are region specific words. phrases that usually add colors, to your tone of writing, to your piece of writing. So you need to think about it. Then avoid glitches. Glitches are basically words which come with experience and outdated words, obsolete. Example I'll give you. It's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all. It's a common glitch. Okay, so it's basically a phrase of idea or idea that has been used so many times that it is not at all relevant or not at all longer in use. It doesn't have any meaning, any interest. So avoid glitches, avoid colloquialisms, avoid expressions, metaphors that are commonly used in the speech, because this is something which is very formal. This is something which is like which needs to be very organized. Okay, so you can't go for informal type of a language. These things, colloquialism, glitches, expression, metaphors, these all things are a part of informal language. Then, for example, use children instead of kids. Kids nowadays don't feel like. Kids nowadays want to watch mobile phones while eating. Rather go for children. Alcohol instead of booze. The problem of alcoholism in India. So booze is an informal word, alcohol is a more formal word. Then express your opinion, not prejudices. Basically, this prejudice is a strong, unreasonable feeling, an anti-feeling which we have for something. Don't have prejudices, okay? Be open-minded. You can change your perception, okay? Make your point with facts and arguments, not with emotional appeals. Keep your emotions at bay, at side. That's because academic writing will focus or will consider only the formal thing and the objective things. Emotions will come under subjectivity. Okay, we have already, like I have already told you that your academic writing should be objective, but if it is going to have emotional appeals, it will mar the basic purpose of academic writing. That's because it is more objective and not at all subjective. So emotions, it lends subjectivity to a piece of writing. Avoid expressions of personal reactions. Wow, yuck, I believe. It is usually inappropriate. And I'm not talking it in the sense of only writing, say, research papers, as well other type of writing. Never talk down to your readers. Don't over explain things that will be obvious to someone in your field. Don't over generalize. Okay, remember to take these as guidelines, because these are not the rigid rules. I told you these rules, they'll vary from what is going to work for you and what is not going to work. Okay, vary from discipline to discipline. Then style, I told you, it is the reflection of personality. Then individuality, it speaks volumes about an individual. So a way in which something is written, it influences the reader's impression of the information itself. So it's basically a blend of diction and tone. And what is the main aim of style? To present information so that others, they'll be able to understand. So in style, use jargon with discrimination, avoid expression, contractions, don't, haven't. These are contractions. You cannot use contractions in academic writing while corresponding. It is considered okay while speaking to someone, but in writing, you cannot use contractions. Even in question papers, haven't, done, don't. Okay, so avoid use of contractions. Then avoid vague use of words. we and you, second person. Sexist use of masculine pronouns in referring to males and females. For example, generally in academic writing, in formal writing, we say that it is always used, it should be considered like while writing, you need to avoid the use of sexist language. What is sexist language? It discriminates between a man and a woman. Okay, now we have this LGBTQ community. They are also fighting for their rights. At VNIT, we have research scholars who are doing research on in this particular field also, in gender studies and all. So generally, like recently we had this, I would like to share this with you people through this platform, that we had an interdisciplinary conference on 10th of this month, and it was on trends in contemporary literature and its reflection in the society. Okay, so we had invited a transgender, Mohini, and Mohini, she works with Sarathi Trust. So she is the one who is fighting for the rights of transgenders in Nagpur. So the Sarathi Trust, it deals with the problems of these people, their law, then their rights, their well-being. Okay, so all like we invited her and we told her to like address the audience and like share her experience. Okay, so when we talk about sexist language, we have this differentiation or gender discrimination based on biological factors. Okay, so we have Mr. and Mrs. We have this congressman, congresswoman. Rather than you can go for member of Congress. Okay, so these are the certain examples of sexist language. Now, she told us, when I communicated with her, she was of the opinion that my research scholar, she told me, she had briefed me about it before itself, like before communicating with her on, say, before having this telephonic conversation, that she would like to be called as ma'am, not as sir. Okay, so I addressed her as a ma'am, and then while giving the invitation letter and the gratitude letter, so we mentioned MX. Okay, it is not Miss, MS, MRS, or not Mr. They like to be addressed as MX dot Mohini. So she talked about the discrimination which goes on. Okay, and we all are aware of it. So basically, when we talk about writing, the writing part, we need to keep this sexist language at bay. Okay, we can't use it. So we have certain words like poetess, stewardess, firewoman, lady lawyer, male nurse, woman doctor. All these words, they are sexist words. Okay, so there are certain preferred alternatives for those, like poet, flight attendant, rather than poetess. Okay, firefighters, lawyers, nurses, doctors. So go for this. So avoid these masculine pronouns. Okay, avoid these sexist use of the language while referring to the females. Okay, so basically, what is academic English or academic writing? This is a unique set of rules which are explicit, formal, factual, objective, and it is analytical in nature. There is some rationale behind it. Okay, and these 4 skills of language, listening, speaking, reading, and writing, these are the fundamental aspects. Okay, along with those, grammar, vocabulary, and punctuation are very, very important and useful for good academic writing. Okay, so thank you. I'm not going to end over here, just this one more slide. It's only 11:45. So, ma'am, I'm going to continue with it. Objectives in technical writing. Okay, now from academic, technical, almost synonymous. It's the presentation and communication of accurate and objective scientific technological information which we wish to share. So communication, as all of you know, it's a two-way process. There's a sender and a receiver. There are barriers to communication which needs to be addressed at the nuclear stage itself. Okay, nipped in the bud. You have to do that for effective communication. These are the certain examples of technical text, or say academic, wherein we are going to use the academic writing. Okay, next we have we make use of academic writing in the field of medicine, business, engineering, science, drafting, all, like you all are aware of it. Now what goes on? Basically, I don't want to share. This is what I wish to share with you. That take writing as a process. The questions I need to ask myself before proceeding for writing. What do I want to say? What I wish to convey? Pre-writing, drafting, PDREP. You have even coder, CODER. So coder is categorizing, organizing, drafting, E is editing, and R is revising. Okay, so coder, even that is a piece of writing. That is a formula, which we generally tell the students. But for us, it should be PDREP because we want to publish it, because we want to share it. So pre-writing, time to think. It is the early planning. What I want to convey, what do I want to say, who will read my writing? That is important. Whether the higher authorities are going to read my writing, whether the government officials are going to read my writing, whether the foreign people, the foreign authorities are going to read my writing. Who is my audience? Okay, what else do I need to know to begin? Who can I talk to about my ideas? It's always better to take help of someone senior, someone experienced. Okay, and if it is like you who have the onus of guiding other people, it is better you can always seek information from the internet, from the books, from the magazines, from the journals. Be a voracious reader. If you are a voracious reader, you will be able to guide the other people how to proceed in writing as a process. So these are a few questions which I need to ask myself. So it is a time to think, and you need to devote time to this, because as I told you, academic writing, it's a serious business. Most of the time, like common correspondence which I'll share with you, that if we wish to write a letter to the principal, just taking permission that I wish to avail LTC, or I'm submitting a proposal, I need to write a covering letter. So it's a big question mark. How should I begin? Whether, like, most of the times we have this traditional type of letter writing and we are fixed into it, traditional or modern one, a contemporary one or a conventional one. So you need to think, like, after the advent of computers, we have this conventional type of writing. We have this contemporary type of a letter writing part, wherein it is divided into an American format and British format. So we keep on telling the faculty members, the students, or the people who come to us for help, that first think which particular format you are going to follow for writing a memo. If it is a congratulatory memo, if it is an information memo, if it is a warning memo, if it is a report, or if it is a letter, like I told you. So to whom are we going to write, and what format are we going to use? So after the advent of computers, everything is written on the left hand side. So we don't give a comma after to. So most of the times the engineering teachers, they ask us, why don't we give a comma after to? Like, then we have to tell them that there are two types of format, American and British format, wherein you can give a comma after to in British format and punctuation marks after every line in British, but it's not case in American. Even the format of dates, it's different. DDMMYY, MMDDYY. Okay, so you have to tell them what is expected, what is more formal, what is in vogue nowadays. Okay, so that is very important. So writing as a process, give a thought to pre-writing, time to think. So it is basically the early planning. So initially capture as many ideas are possible for you without worrying about the structure. So you don't need to worry about the structure. You don't need to think about anything else at that particular moment, at that time. Okay, that's because you are just started. Okay, you have embarked on the journey of writing this particular, or maybe a task which is assigned to you, or maybe if you are taking it on your own. So carefully read and think about the task, about the assignment, what is the purpose of it. Diagrams, mind mapping, brainstorming, discussing, then list down the readings which you are going to do, then collect the material. Okay, so in pre-writing process, you will do the early planning. You will think about the resources, whether it will be online resources, whether it will be traditional resources, to which you are going to adhere to which you are going to like look into for getting the matter, that is preparing. Okay, preparing. So for preparation, preparation is pre-writing. Okay, so what do I want to say? What do I want? How do I want to say it? Who will read my writing? That is, who is my audience? What else do I need to know to begin? Like the knowledge which I already have, is it sufficient? Is it enough? Or shall I go for reading? Do I need to read more about this particular thing? Okay, who can I talk to about my ideas? So basically what happens is, like, if we think about a particular thing, a topic, a task, or any assignment, one moment will come wherein we'll be stuck and we won't be able to cross that hurdle because our thinking capacity, it will stop over there. So it's always better to discuss it, because once you discuss through brainstorming, you will get new ideas. Maybe you will come across certain novel ideas which will be suggested maybe by your peers, by your supervisor, by your maybe even by your subordinates or by your higher ups. Okay, so it's always better to think to with whom I can discuss. Then comes the drafting process. It is actually the time to write down. Are my thoughts organized? Which ideas do I want to develop? In what order do I want to say them? Who can read this and offer suggestions? Who are going to offer, who will read this and offer suggestions? That is valuable feedback, criticism, genuine criticism. ये नहीं कि this is my particular friend and I'll show the drafting to her or him, whatever it is, and then it will be approved. Okay, it's not like that. You need to again give it to someone who is going to give you a genuine feedback. Okay, so who will read this and offer suggestions? Because there are a few people, you go to them and they'll say, everything is perfectly okay, this and that, and then you are going to get a thrash. Okay, you will get negative remarks. So it is always better that don't rely on people whom you don't believe. Okay, revising, time to improve my writing after properly organizing it, after thinking what is right, what is wrong, what is important, what is not important, what needs to be stressed. Okay, all these things you will have to think. Now, time to improve my writing. Have I read what I have written out loud? Are my details clear or fuzzy? Fuzzy again in a haphazard way, or ambiguous. What should I add or remove, delete or add? What words can I replace to make it better? Here, the role of vocabulary will come in, the role of thesaurus. Okay, should I reorder any of my details or ideas? Then edit it, Have I located incomplete sentences and run-ons, spelling, capitalization, punctuation? Has someone checked my work? Is the final copy ready and neat? Shall I reorder? Should I reorder any of my details or ideas? Okay, so editing. And last is the publishing part. Should I illustrate it and display it? What should I do? Shall I publish it as a book? Shall I record a reading of it? Shall I upload it on World Wide Web? Should I act it out? Should I post it as a reel? Should I on Insta or a Meta? Okay. Should I go for like sharing it with my friends? Can I make a video of it? Whatever it is, on whichever platform you wish to publish. But lot many efforts goes on to it. Okay. Now, only 4 minutes are left. I'll quickly go through it. Clarity. So provide specific detail, answer the reporter's question, use easily understandable words, active voice versus passive. Think about conciseness. You need to limit your paragraph length, sentence, and word. Again, this academic writing, it will differ from the different pieces of, for different pieces of writing, it will be different. Report will be more extensive, more elaborate as compared to a letter. Proposal will be more lengthy. So word length, sentence length, and paragraph. It should be accurate. So document accuracy, stylistic, technical. If you are using graphics, you need to think about the relevance, because nowadays, most of the time, academic writing, it is supplemented by use of graphics. So you need to be very careful how you are going to use the different type of graphics in academic writing. You need to be very like technically accurate. For example, is there, I like cooking my family and my pets. Use commas, don't be a psycho. So I like cooking. Yes, to be able to structure a cohesive paragraph with the correct use of grammar and punctuation. Where will you use the comma? I like cooking, my family, my pets, ethics, for my family and for my pets. You can go for punctuation, you can go for use of commas, you can change the structure, don't change its meaning. You need to be very careful about the ethics. Legalities, nowadays we have these line and support staff, wherein people are recruited from different industries. Like in industries, we have legal people, lawyers who are appointed. Even for medical professionals, we have psychologists who can treat the compassion fatigue. So the legalities, the confidentiality, quality, honesty, professionalism, and fairness, that is all of you are aware of how to avoid plagiarism in writing, because you can easily make out. Okay, so thank you everyone. I'll stop sharing. I hope you have like this slide, it's very important, this one, because generally we don't consider writing as a process. We take it for granted, right? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for wonderful speech about the language, how it must be clear and precise, what accuracy is to be maintained, and how to avoid the contractions. Thank you so much. Over to Abha, madam.
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Is now.
Suvarna ma'am, do you wish to take a screenshot so all of them, they can on their cameras?
Please switch on your cameras, everyone. Please switch on your cameras.
And you can share everyone? It with me on WhatsApp.
Yes, sure, madam, sure.
Yes, done with it? Not many participants are there. Okay. So shall I leave the meeting now?
But I think I am not visible there, no, on the screen.
Yes.
I am trying to switch on my camera. Yes. Now it is okay.
Hello. Morning, Ardas ma'am.
Hello. It was a very nice session. Thank you for accepting our invitation.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maithilee madam, for accepting our invitation.
Thanks for giving me this opportunity. Both ways, thank you. Hello, Ujwala ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Bhagya ma'am is also there.